two things can happen. One, that property will be taken up, so it won't be available anymore. So it's a missed opportunity for him. Two, um, the property will just hold on. The seller will not go down further because he feels that it's gotten down. It's gone down forever. I mean, gone down already so much, no? So you have to identify, you know, and choose select the kind of clientele that you are dealing with. Um, there are clients that are really hoping for the moon, which will lead you nowhere. Such a waste of time. They're not ready, and their just sentiment is not there. The sentiment to buy. You know, even though there's a buying sentiment, you know, the emotional preparedness to transact is not there. There are clients that are, you know, the best to find are those end users. They need the property. They want it. So regardless if it's a 15 or 30%, they want the property. Those are the good ones to get. Okay, that's why investors are tough ones. End users are the easy ones. So you have to dig in, ask a lot of questions, um, and to find out what's their time frame, what's their buying, what have they seen. Because if they've seen something that's so good of a deal and they didn't buy that, then they might be on that on the dreamer side, and they're gonna make, you know, and then you're gonna waste a lot of time with them. You might as well search for others and service other clients. No, so again, those are frustrations and sentiments that we have to face during this pandemic. The economic recession, of course, it's taking a bite on everyone's financial uh, status. Okay, that's why somehow you have to complement that. Where do you get that? You know, how do you balance it out? It may not balance, but something like, let's say what I did, you know, with the office. So, you know, how much were my bills on the phones? You know, I could not cancel my newly upgraded broadband because it's a 2-year contract. If I canceled it, I got to pay for the full 2 years. So that's crazy. So I just got to keep that. So on the other hand, I got 3 other lines. So let them go. Anyway, everybody now is like, you know, unlimited on cell phone. So I cut them out. That cut out maybe about 5,000 in my monthly bills. Okay. I'm trying to see if I could, um, what do you call this, sublease. Anyway, I've got that clause that I could sublease in my contract. So looking for options. My parking, okay, going then was 4,500. I'm in the Makati business district near Greenbelt. So trying to lease it out even for 2,000. You know, everything counts just so that it lessens my over. Because if I'm spending 35,000 in that office, you know, if I can get 15,000 now, 20,000, cut down my expenses, that would really help a lot. Okay, so I'm on a small scale. What about the big guys? Okay, now you've got people in Mercury. Those people are that I see, or in the parlor that I go to. Their rotation. So this week you will see this guy, or this day you will see that cutter. The next day it's another cutter. Okay, Soler has taken, has removed, has let go of some of their people. You know, I think about 40%. So some are without a job. If you're trying to recruit people, employees, it's actually a good time if you could, you know, because it's a great time to get. They're desperate, and you'll get good seasoned people to work for you. Okay, so that's basically what a buyer's and a seller's market is. There's very few buyers in the market. So I tell my client sellers, okay, do you have any other better offer? We don't have any other offer. Do you have an offer? Do you have anybody interested on your side? No. So what's the best? An offer is an offer if it's acceptable to you. So in the beginning, when I get a property listing, I always, from the very top, I tell them immediately, okay, let me do the numbers for you, assuming we sell at this price, so that, you know, at the end of the day, what they don't realize sometimes is what's net to them. That's the most important thing for a buyer, and they overlook that more often than not. And you, as the seasoned professional broker, should be the one that should be saying, "All right, because how many are going out of their way to give that extra line or advise them on that aspect?" Okay. So you just got the listing. So some just take a photo. It's nice. It's good. Okay. 2 bedrooms, 97 square meters, 18 million. Okay. It's facing north. Improved unit. Kind of high ceiling. There's maid's room. The parking slot is okay, but it's medyo hard to park on that side. Okay. The door is facing north, but you've got a nice view of the whatever, di ba? So go one step further. I tell my client, by the way, thanks for allowing me to view, but I will, also do the numbers for you. So, that would, to get the numbers for them, that would entail getting the zonal value, doing your numbers. Is parking there? So you got the parking is a certain percentage now. If it's a condominium, it's a certain percentage of the zonal value of the unit, no? So then you give the numbers to them. Yeah, sometimes, what happens is that, okay, they come up with a figure, then I'm giving a net amount. Ganun ba? Just give me a net of this. Net of what? Okay? Net of what? Net of everything? Okay. So what are your taxes? Are you variable? What's your TIN number? So the best thing to go about that is get your TIN number. That's the Bible of the BIR. Okay? So when you get the TIN number, come here. We have a liaison. We have people in the BIR. We just give them the TIN number. They'll tell us, sir, this is a registered lessor, vatable yan. So we know the number because doing a net deal can be very touchy, so you have to really assess that. So you assess on the VAT more often because you gotta, if it's a net of all, wherein you gotta input your professional fees of 3 or 5%, and then the VAT, and then the CWT, if it's vatable, then you gotta have that in. If not, it's just plain capital gains, no? Now, yeah, and also, if it's like in Taguig, Quezon City, and Pasig, then there's business tax. So, they're pointing fingers, but of course, if it's a net deal, you gotta input that also. Okay? So the buyer, gonna say, oh, hindi ko magagamit yan eh, ba't sa akin yan? Oh, and another crazy thing about our system with the BIR, what goes in Makati may not go in Parañaque, may not go in Quezon City, may not go in Taguig. So, documentation, ito lang kailangan nila, affidavit of non-tenancy, dito hindi na kailangan. So, it's not standardized. That's really a big issue. So, you really have to know because you don't want to go there personally. That's why we use a liaison, no? We have a liaison that handles that so that, we outsource everything because we do what we do best, which is to move properties and help our clients. Once we do that, we explain that to them that we have we pass the cost to them sometimes, depending on the deal, no? So, kasi it could run anywhere from 15,000 to 30,000. Some charge 50,000 for the whole thing, as far as up to the titling, diba? Okay. So inventory is higher. Don't you have so much listings now? This is the best time to get listings. Are you selling? In fact, when you're coming on to people, to clients, you come on in 1997. That was what I did. I drove around. I asked. I had a property requirement. Are you selling properties in Forbes? Are you selling property in Corinthian, Acropolis, commercial ground floor? Are you selling an office unit? So the come on is in their subconscious. This guy is trying to, he's not selling me. He's trying to find out. He's trying to help me with my difficulty if I have one. So the worst that could happen is that you'll land a property. Oh, I don't have Forbes, but I do have property in Bulacan, 3 hectares. At the end of the day, it's a new listing. So it's good activity. Okay. Properties stay on longer, so we do have the number of days in the market. When I get a property and it's listed with me, we know a daily activity on that one. So it's like day 1, day 2. So we know how long it is in the market. Properties are now taking longer in the market. That, of course, depends on the location. If you have a 350,000 in Forbes, that's gone in 4 months, given it's a good location. If it's like in Acropolis or in Valle Verde, as long as it's priced well, because all of the buyers now, they have a buying price. So you kind of like, I tell my clients already before I waste my time or spend more time with them, what are your buying parameters? Get that. So when no perimeter, no tumbok, I'd like an old house that I could renovate. There's got to be a bedroom on the ground floor. So all these things you factor in so that you can zero in on the requirement. You have to be like an AI yourself, like use your artificial intelligence so that and you can zero in on their requirements and call them. That not just because you don't have a listing or you haven't found anything to offer, call them. Hey, I'm working at it. I'm looking for properties. I still, there's one that that I'm speaking to, but they're having the property assessed. Whatever it is, get to them. Just let them know that you're with them, that you are working with them. Okay, all right. There's fewer offers on a property, and so of course low pa. And there's of course there's a other side too. Well, of course this applies in the U.S. I don't know over here it's different, no? Because over here they gotta see best deal, best offer, pandemic price on your ads, no? Elsewhere in the world, they see that of course they don't know that over here it's like the property is given to 10 brokers. Exclusivity is still something that they have to understand and to relate to and to trust, because they feel that times are bad. I need to sell this. I'm not just going to give it to one. I'm going to give it to 10. The more the merrier. So I do a blog. I tell my clients, actually you just don't realize our world. When you give it to me, and you give it to 10 others, we all know each other. Next thing you know, oh, he's working on it. Oh, he's working on it. Then nababado yung property. It becomes listing ng bayan. But there's a way of, of course, saying that property in order for them to assess that. When I did that blog and I got success with a few. So some really give me exclusivity on a listing. But sometimes it's hard to like be upfront with our client and tell them our world. We have to do that. I do that just so that they know, because more often than not, they just don't know where we're coming from. Okay. They're like, okay, you inquired and you're not answering my call. How would you feel if, it's your business and I inquired and you're following up and I don't answer your call, so that they know. I'm bold enough to do that and ask them also and tell that to them. So in a seller's market, it's totally a different thing. There's so much demand. There's not too many sellers waiting for a better price. Number of days in the market there, you get multiple offers. And sometimes there's a price war, which we avoid. By the way, when it comes to making an offer in order to avoid a price war, okay, always put like this caption: this offer is good for 7 days and may not be used for comparison with others. Basta this offer is only good for 7 days upon receipt of seller, so that it's there. It also subconsciously it tells also the buyer, the seller, that they have to make a decision. Last thing we want is a price war. Kaya sa client and also waste our time. But there, we will come across those kind of sellers, and it's just part of what we do. Goes with the territory, no? Okay, all right. Cash is king. That's so obvious. That's why people are rather holding on, because they don't know. It's still an unknown. Although of course, now we're on that side wherein things are looking much better, and or at least it sounds better. We feel better about the virus coming in. So, but nevertheless, there's still people that would rather hold on to their cash. So in what we do, we have what I call the usual suspects. Diba? Who are they? Who are the usual suspects? They're usually like, the buyers. Diba? So the buyers are looking for great deals. Of course, if you're looking in Metro Manila, it's a different thing. If you're buying at Forbes or you're buying at Dasma or high-end or in Tierra Nueva or in Miranila in Quezon City. They're all like looking for good deals. Of course, the further you go, it's different. It's a need, and the sentiment is that it's not prices are not yet high here. That's why the 4 to 6 million is like a real good number. It's good to work with those developers from Vista Land to other developers that are Robinsons that have that magic up to 10 million actually 4 to 10. That's a good one. Now, if you get projects or townhouses also within the 1.5, even though it's small, may susuutan yan, merong shoot dyan pa rin. And it's worth the effort because for 1.5 million deals at 5% adds up to your monthly thing. And the hidden thing that you don't realize there is that the self-esteem it brings you when you're closing a deal. Add to the fact that you have another client that could give you referrals. So they are the property buyers, right? Now, I network a lot. For some that know, I started my networking events about 2 years ago. It's a 7-year dream to come up with a networking event wherein I invite good friends in the industry to talk, share their experiences, network. So there are people, and then there's a break, and then there's time to network. So it worked out really well until the pandemic. But a lot of I'm happy to say that a lot of them got a good start. They got to meet people that they could have never met without the network. But just fast track their network, their to know the people that in the industry. So that is always good networking, because if you don't network, as I said, ako from the day one, I know if I could remember right, I think Viber I started in 2010. Nobody yet was doing it, and I started with 30 brokers that I trusted, and I put them all together so we can all share listings. And so next thing you know, people were dealing with each other. So the key there was to give a vibrant um, real estate, meaning people could transact. There's always transaction. It really was good for the industry. So then again, always look back. Who are the brokers that you've transacted with? Because meron na kayong something you may bango na kayo So chances are you will be blessed again rather than those that you have not. Because some take a while. I've got networks that are very close to me. We see each other every week. But it took us 10 years, 12 years to get a deal going. There are some that I've known for 25 years, still no transaction. But we're very good friends. It's just that, wala, hindi nagkiklik eh. May ganun talaga, Not all deals are meant. Property developers, there's an opportunity right now, as I said, before they were mayabang, like this big developers, very classy. Before they were only giving so much professional fees, 1.5%, 0.5, or let's say they didn't need brokers because they had their in-house. So now is the time to get back to them because they're very motivated. They need help in the pushing their properties. Okay, this also goes in line with leasing. Those that wanted to get into an Ayala townhouse, Ayala mall that couldn't get in. One that wanted, there's one that was in there and he wanted that location by the door. When you enter, you couldn't get it because that was safe for somebody else closer to Ayala, but that they're not in that mode to do business. So he has that opportunity to do that now. Those are opportunities now that retailers can get. If it's not now, it may never happen because when things normalize, it's back to the same thing. So the preferred tenants will get the preferred locations. The government agencies, my gosh, how many of us have issues with BIR, the LRA, LGU, Assessor's Office? Okay. BIR, of course, that's where you get conflicting views from the on-net person of the day. You get conflicting views from Paranaque having a different requirement from the one in Makati. There was a time that a what do you call this, in Makati, they um, parking slot, on the ruling it said that parking was only 80% of the zonal value. Yeah, it was Christmas season, and this um, RDO insisted on 100% of the zonal on parking, which threw our computations off by about 34,000. It's Christmas time. A a big time buyer bought it, and the seller is a kind of like a very hard to deal banker. Mag-aaway lang. And and the thing was, the seller insisted on not reporting the proper amount. That's why I did sign it. I did sign the deed of sale. I avoid that. Okay, just so that I'm not going to be part of any um, unethical thing, di ba? So this buyer was going to report. So I warned them, okay, if you don't agree, ganyan. But they stood their ground. The seller was Christmas, and I know it's not gonna get anywhere, and I was getting a little stressed on it. So kumita naman do sa sale because it was a direct listing and also a direct buyer. So 34,000. So sinagot ko na lang yan. Tapos ang kwento, title was out in 7 days. Finish. Because we have got a liaison that processes for us. So out in 3 days in BIR, 3 days again in RD. So sometimes there are cases wherein you gotta take charge and eat up something. It's just the way it is. Then you're moving smoothly to the next deal. LRA, of course, there are issues with the LRA because why sometimes when they couldn't do with the register of deeds, put a list pendants, they go directly to LRA. But these are things that we have to know. But it's always like we have connection with the main deputy, and so when there's help, that really comes around helpful. No, LGUs. On business tax. I remember I was the third case in 1987. No, 97. I sold an office about 500 square meters in Tectite. Tectite, or Pasig, was the first city. The city treasurer there was the first one that introduced business tax before he was transferred and introduced that to Quezon City. Then he was moved to Taguig to introduce that to Taguig. Okay. Anyway, so when I was doing BIR, so I asked for a computation on it. So they computed. They didn't know business tax because business tax is an LGU thing, a local government unit thing. So you could not pay your transfer tax without paying business tax. And it's not funny actually. It's actually frustrating. In the Philippines, the brunt of the burden of taxes is on the taxpayer. You have to know, because why can't they, put put it out in the newspaper, or since everybody, why can't they send out a letter on your property? By the way, we now have a business tax, blah blah blah. Okay, so just to inform the general public. So it's really your own lookout. It's really a big caveat, Assessors, okay, what happened with assessors now, di ba? By the way, going back to the challenges now in the pandemic, all these offices, okay, they have a certain time to get in. There's a certain number of people that get processes in a day. Some just want it online. So these things you have to know, okay? Those are, again, the challenges that we face during these times. So you don't want to waste your time. You drive all the way to certain location to Paranaque just to find out you can't process it because kulang ng documents, or their times are only this much, or it's only by appointment. So please do your due diligence, your own self, not on the paperwork, but also your due diligence before you put your time and effort into going to one place. No, Okay, as far as assessor's office, okay, it's a good thing now that they remember. We also had a sad experience, which almost I wasn't going to, but my my co-broker was about to share the side of that fee. No, what happened was we sold the property in Makati, and it's a house and lot. So at that time, you can get your tax clearance, get your tax clearance from the tax deck. As long as you pay your real estate tax, there's no tax clearance. No? So what happens? So when you sell a property, you got all the necessary clearances. You got your tax clearance, certified through copy of the title. So it's a go. So you sign. So now you process. So with BIR, okay, no problem. Then comes the issue of the tax deck. So the tax deck now has to be transferred to the new owner. What's the requirement of the assessor's office then? This started during Kim Hinari's time. But take note, all these laws or rulings, procedures were actually there in the book already. They were just not being implemented. So what happened? So when you were applying for a tax deck, the new requirement then was inspection. You got to go through an inspection. So when the examiner saw the place, measured it, there was 150 square meters added to the original tax deck. Meaning, for the past so many years that they've owned the property, let's say they were only paying for 150 square meters, but it was actually 300. That was actual, because they added like a second floor. They never reported. Why would they report? Because of course, if they reported, that will increase their realty taxes. Catch 22, right? Also, um, unfortunately, our government agencies are not equipped. They're really undermanned. Really, ang assessor's office, it's every 3 years that they should inspect and update the property. San Juan's doing that religiously now, I believe. No. Anyway, so what happened then? So there was a 330,000, kasi they would compute 10 plus 1, 10 years plus 1 year. Unless you got proof that, there was only added 2 years ago, so they'll only back tax you for 2 years. So, but that's the flaw in the system right there. Why only now? The seller is already flew to United States. Hindi na mahabol. So we're left holding the bag. So, but fortunately, there was a letter sent, a legal letter, blah blah blah, and fortunately the seller sold. And now the new procedure, buti na lang, is that when you're getting a tax clearance, or at least myself when I'm getting one, I ask for an inspection. Inspect nyo na yan, because I'm going to use that inspection just to make sure that there is, that it's been inspected and there's no surprises on back taxes. Okay, so I hope that helps. Operations. All right. So operations are also okay on the new norm, no? Now we've got the Zoom, diba? And operations, and it really helps, to connect with people, because like, I don't know about you, but for myself in my 30 or 31 years, no, I assess everything, as I told you, and going back to all the transactions and deals, who and where and what kind of line it is, you know, uh, as far as deals are made, 70% of my transactions are with co-brokers. Okay. And only 30%, 25 to 30% are direct. So I spend more time, we spend more time, my office, with my staff, to reach out to our networks. Oh, there's our new listing. What are your requirements? Okay. That's how we do it. We focus on that. We really spend a lot of time with relationships, building our network, and expounding. Who haven't we spoken to during this pandemic? Who did we try to call and they're not replying? Okay, maybe they don't wanna reach out to us. Maybe they don't belong in our Viber group, you know, so that's how I assess things. Because there's always a number of people that I see that are so promising. They got good listings, seems like they're very credible. So I take a chance, but you know, I always make a phone call, and from that phone call, I guess that's how I feel if it's worth working with them. You know, parang may instinct na yan eh, you know, after some time. All right. There's a property viewing protocol, right? So, you know, given that, let's say Surrendra, you know, there's that the face mask, there's the facial, there's the PPE. The thing is, you have to get it from them. I don't know if the same still applies now, no? But it's such a hassle. You're gonna drive there, you're gonna pay. Who's gonna pay on those PPEs? And then now it's at least it's not lockdown, but before there was even a lockdown. So you travel from Parañaque, you're gonna cross the Taguig. How do you get through? You know, will your PRC be good enough, or might as well leave it to the broker? Now there's brokers naman biglang nagmayabang. Okay, oh you're not going. Oh, I'll only give you 30%. You know, I did everything. Excuse me. You know, these are times of challenges. These are times of understanding each other's needs. Don't be that kind of person. You know, I'm providing the client, so don't give me that. Okay, I will remember you forever for being like that, and I'll make sure that you don't, you know, that other people know how you deal. Malitang mundo ng real estate, really, you know, and bad news travels fast, you know. But of course, out of ethics, we don't post names online, but you can warn your friends, you know, when you make your calls. So those protocols are really a challenge, also. You know, that's why when there's ever a challenge, there's like a challenge, no? So you face it head on. So how do you do that? Then you take videos. There's the owners gotta like find the time to let you in the property, and you naman, okay, if you take good videos and okay lang. If not, they're ranging anywhere from 10 to 15,000 to get somebody to do like a video with their gimbal and do it professionally, you know, with music. And you know, I still have to find there's a 360 also that you can invest in, and then you can do that. But it's really the way to go. You know, it saves you time to tell people. I think that's something that it will not go away now. That is already a new norm. Okay. And also for us, it's better because let them see all the properties online. So when they finally choose which one, at least it's narrowed down, and you don't have to travel from one condo unless you're just in Surrender and you're just walking from one building to the next. But what if it's like a house and lot? You're seeing something in White Plains, and then you go to Blue Ridge, and then you go to Mariposa, then you go to New Manila. You know, imagine the travel time, diba? So let them zero in just to avoid time. More often than not, they would appreciate that because sometimes they don't even think of that. Okay. So here's some helpful tips on how we do it. As I said, you know, when something's not working, I assess. I ask my staff again. Oh, what do we need to do? So, sir, baka pwede ito, baka pwede ito. So, I'm always open. As I said, you know, aside from them, I'm really hands on daily activities. No, okay, wait. Okay, when I do that, yeah, there. So you have to know your daily routine. Okay, figure it out. What's your daily routine? Okay, if I were to, uh, uh, okay, so what's my daily routine? It's not in this slide. Huh? Okay, I thought it was in this slide. Okay, but my daily routine, I can send that, you know. Okay, if I wake up in the morning, I check immediately my website. So this is about 4:15, 4:30 in the morning. I sleep around 8, 9 o'clock.
Okay, sige.
Okay. So I check my website. I check my analytics. My analytics, of course, you know, you can go to like where did the view come from, and number two, I analyze how many views did I get. You know, before the pandemic, my website would get about 1,005, anywhere from low of 1,000 to 2,000 hits a day. And that's with me posting 3 properties a day, using the nice tag words, sending it out to LinkedIn, sending it out to Facebook. But now I realize, my gosh, all this pala, there are efforts that are useless. We'll get to that later. You really, the internet works in a strange way that most of us could understand. And don't try to understand it. Just go with the flow. And if you have a professional that can do it, let them do it for you until you can pick it up already. No? So I got friends. It took them 2 months. These are IT friends of mine already, or what? No, still took them 2 months to really understand the analytics of how Facebook assesses so that you can be sponsored or whatever, no? Very a bit complicated. So I check my website for my analytics. Then I post my listings. We've got so many listings, but I check on them. Before I post them, I make sure that I had already agreed with the property owner. ATS, it's a case-to-case basis. If it's a friend, all right. If it's not a friend, then I would ask for an ATS, because if I ask for an authority to sell or authority to lease on every single property, I need a warehouse already. You know, kulang siguro isang hektaryang warehouse just for the paperwork. No? Okay, so I post my listings. Then on my website, if you open it, no, on my bottom there's like share it to Facebook, share it to Twitter, you know. But then again, I'm realizing that all these things I'm doing is not the proper way. Obviously, I'm a senior, no, so I have to like understand how things have to be shared or tweeted or done from YouTube and all the others, no. Okay, then I check my email. Take note, there's never been more busier time or more time to really take advantage of email. People don't go out. They're opening their computers. They're checking their emails. It's a good time to really activate again. I had 6,000 mailers, but I don't send there anymore for the last decade or so. Okay, it's my staff that does that, and even at that, if it's sent by them, it's not me. So it's got to be me, because my clients would like to hear from me or from you. That's the same way. Sometimes we can only delegate so much, and some things we really have to do on our own. That's just the way it is. If you want to reach a level, of success, then things have to be done your way. You will see that with every successful, practitioner. Most of the things, it's really hands-on. They do it. They have the personal connection with their clients, and that's the key. I've got friends during this pandemic. They just focused on 5 clients. They call them weekly. So some were able to done a good property in Makati. Some were able to get a good 5 hectares in Laguna. But it took that personal relationship. Okay. Check email. Then I check my Viber. With my Viber, of course, the problem with a lot of people now is information overload. You
Hello?
Hello? Yeah. Okay. So, there's so many are part of so many groups. When you assess it, somebody just grab all the members of your group and add it onto their group because they don't like some members of your group. So, but it's kind of like really duplicate of everything. So you just post and you post and you post, and then really, what is your success ratio on that? You have to assess that, because you'd like to think that, for every activity, what results are you getting? Are you getting engagement, which turns into conversion? Because if it's just that, it's plain activity, it's para ka lang naglakad, bumalik ka, walang nangyari. That's not good, diba? You'd like to get a result for for almost every activity that you do. You gotta think result oriented, no? Because you gotta understand your time is valuable. How do you assess the value of your time? Look at how much you made in one year. Divide that by the number of months or the hours, then you'll know how much you're worth per hour. So every move that you make per hour, there's cost. You know, that's very important. Then you'll appreciate more. Every move you make. O sa kanta yun di ba? Sting ata. Okay? All right. So in my Viber groups, I've got I've grouped them, I've got a group of clients, friends that appreciate the blogs that I've been doing. Mind you, I started doing blogs, newsletters because I learned it from San Francisco when I was working with an insurance company. We were trained to like do newsletters to our clients, tell them what's the update on the industry. There's a new policy that came out, blah blah blah. So I applied it here. So I remember when I did that in 1992. 91 was when came back here immediately in real estate. So in 92, by the way, in 1991, no clients, two telephones, one fax, one phone. I got the 5,000 directory, did a, what do you call this, top 30 requirements, mixing residential, commercial, industrial. So while I was talking on one phone, I was faxing on the other phone, requirements. And out of that, you know, I did get a bunch of good multinationals, some embassies, some some Chinese clients that were selling. As I said, di ba? It's coming on not selling but asking, giving them assistance for properties that they need. Mas madali. Filipinos, another thing I realized when I came back, it took me 2 years to realize that Filipinos are soft sell. You don't come on to them, oh, may, nasa real estate na ako, may binibenta ako dito. No, it doesn't work that way. It also doesn't work that you're in two businesses. I mean, I tried to be in financing and real estate at the same time. No, not in the Philippines. No, um, so you really got to be a specialized person. That's it. Your real estate. That's how they should look at you. Okay. Anyway, that blog in 1992, 93, I was the only one doing it. And then came 96, 97, yan na yung mga Jones lang, nandiyan na yung Colliers, nandiyan na yung iba, and they were now doing blogs also. Okay, so thank God they did that. So it kind of like, but of course, I have my different way because mine's more layman. Of course, they're big companies, they have all the facilities, they've got all the research team, but mine was really layman's on where the market is heading, my actual activities, so that really helped a lot. So preparation is key also, huh? By the way, going back here, so on my Viber group, it's separated into clients. So with my network brokers, they know where to post their listings. It's one group. I segregated my requirements, so it's separate. The requirements are in another group. And then I introduced a forum group, for concerns on what do I do, how much is capital gains here, is there business tax there, there's a informal settler, because in my group I've got very select, what do you call this, very generous friends, lawyer friends that I've done business with, and of course I help them also. It's also their way of advertising by going through this network and help out these brokers, and they get their business also. Okay, and then I introduce also a what I call anything goes group. We all like so formal. We all like all business. So what about the other side of you? I wanna, what are you doing after 5? What are you doing when you're drinking? How funny are you? What jokes are you into? What music are you? I had that. So it kind of like releases everyone from their daily routine, and you get to know the other person better. So that worked out well. So I don't. I only have 5 groups. Okay, and really this is enough. I don't need to network. I see 2 other groups. I check sometimes, but not very much, because information overload na. You lose track. Diba? Don't you notice sometimes you get, oh, where did I get this listing from? Who posted this? So hello, okay. So when you get, okay, I'll give you a tip. If you are one of those that are into several groups, okay lang, I mean, if you have the energy to do that and you're not Okay, so what do? You found the listing in Viber group A. Okay, so in order for you not to get lost, organize now, organize in your Viber group a what I call, like in me, I call it the RGS brokers listings. So I copy paste or I forward it there, but make sure, because sometimes the name of the broker is not in there. Okay, like in my group, when you forward it, it's my requirement that if you're in my group, there's certain protocols. You put your PRC license number, you put your contact number, you put your name, so that everybody knows without guessing. It's just it. If you don't have the right post, it's deleted. Okay, that's why I moved to a community. Okay, because it's the regular Viber group, you don't have control. If somebody posts something wrong, you cannot delete it unless they delete for everyone. Because if you delete on your own, it's still there with the group, and I don't like. I'm very OC in that one. No? Okay, so you forward it, you create a group. Okay, brokers listings. So when you see something, you can forward it to that Viber group that you created. If there's a requirement, broker's requirement that you see that you could fulfill or match, then you forward it to a requirement. So dalawang group lang yun. You build a requirement group and you build a listings group. That's it. That should really help you organize the way you do your Viber or your WhatsApp. No? Okay. So after I check my Viber, I check my office reports. The girls, by the way, the nice thing with this Zoom, when we did the Zoom, so we see each other every morning, no? At 7:30, 7:45. Because before all this pandemic, office hours, I moved about 2 years ago to 7 o'clock, 7:15, so that they are ahead of the traffic and they, without going to the hassle. And we have a early morning and then we talk, discuss. And then at 4 o'clock, they leave also. So they're ahead of the traffic also. We love our staff and it's like family to us. No? So that's how we dealt. But, with this pandemic, so what we did is 7:50 at 7:45, we all meet, but prior to that, in the evening, they send us their reports, what they did for the day, who they networked with, what listings went out. Because, they all now there's three of them. One was affected by the pandemic already with the lockdown. So we kind of you know, had to retire. So like in our office, Mercy's in charge of the warehouse, Lourdes is in charge of the commercial residential, Jenny's in charge of the retail space and the condominiums, and Mercy is also in town now, so it's a sharing thing now. Whoever gets it, because continuously there's a part of telemarketing every day. We've got to search good listings always because there's a requirement that our clients want. So there's a time devoted to really searching online. Okay. And ako naman, I do my posting, and each of them has their own websites that I created from long that I started. So for condos, we have condosfield.wordpress.com. We have philippinecommercialproperties.com for commercial. We have philippine-warehouses.wordpress.com for warehouses. We have Philippine luxury homes for again for residential, Philippine townhouses. And then, of course, I've got I've moved into a much bigger platform now, robertgsarmiento.com. That's a web application. Oh, and just to give an idea, yung mga ganon, kasi unlimited space na yan, you can add stuff to the more pictures, faster download, the works, no? Top of the line, it cost about 150,000 for those kind of websites. WordPress, kasi my old WordPress, which is the robertgsarmiento.org, fill up na yan after what? After 10 years? So it's all filled up. It can only take so much. It starts, naglolo ko na siya, kumbaga, parang nabalian ng pila yung arm. So, the analytics of it, of how to post, gets kind of confusing, nag-iba. Okay? So we check our office reports. I meet with them. So the nice thing about that, going back to that, is that I hear from them hands-on. Sir, I was talking with Miss with Mr. Donald Trump. No, his requirement is ganito. He likes a, um, a resort with 50 rooms. It's got to be in the top destinations, Boracay, Iloilo, Cebu, ganyan. It's got to be beachfront because beachfront resorts have a better return rather than like a city hotel. Okay, so we know, no. So they take me to their conversation, and then so I know. Okay, let me call Donald now, and then I'll relate, and further uh, ask what else that he could feed me so that I could look better or we could search better. But because before the Zoom came, they would do their reports and send it to me. Wow, to read that was about 15% lang that I get to read it. But the morning meetings with the Zoom, it's there. I get talagang, so the operation got better. Okay? All right. Um, so we discussed their activities, who they spoke to, what listings they sent out to, but at the end of the day, I asked them, okay, so how did they answer? Who replied to you? I don't know, but maybe brokers are so busy. It's something that I think is part of professionalism that we'd like to request for most. When something's sent to you, what's a simple, hey, noted, or hey, I got this already from somebody. Okay, say dead ma. There's 70%, 75 that just don't reply. I find that very, sana we could, di ba? Lalo na if you, but that's why I can see my networks, my good networks that we're close to. Wow, 90% of them. Hey, noted, Robert, I'll get back to you on this. Okay. Or sometimes they have a client on that. Of course, we choose if it's like a Pacific Plaza Tower. We know who the brokers that work Pacific Plaza Tower. So why give it to somebody working in Tandansora? They don't have any clients for that. Right? So we kind of like zero in so that we don't waste time and effort. Okay. So miscellaneous things. So as I mentioned earlier, I also from kanina, in the morning. So I listen to some videos, that I follow in the stock market, and then I trade from post my thing and then make my calls. Then, when if the market is okay, then I'm out, or if there's a viewing, then I try to view a new property every day. Why? When I go out, going to Makati, going to Marikina, going to Taguig, di ba? On the way, I see things. I see a for sale sign here. I see a new road being constructed. I see so many things. I see a for sale sign. I see an old Shakey's that now is closed down. It helps me make my assessment and do my blogs. So part of the things that I do pala is do a blog on whether short, but as you will see later, there are new things that I plan to do in line with the social media challenge. I tell you, I am so challenged with the social media. If the millennials could do it, or the younger people, or even at my age, some are doing it, and they're getting a professional to help them with that. Then there's no reason why I can't do it, because that's the way to go, really. So that's really a strong advice for everyone, no? Okay. So I take photos of the video of the property. I take video. The video, there's the gimbals now, but talking in there and showing yourself that you're in the property, that's very much important when you're doing those social media. Okay. How to take photos, gosh, that's an art to do that also, because some take like, kanto lang ng living room. Take a full view of the living room. Go down. When you go down, and take a shot from the bottom, it looks more bigger, wider, mas maganda tingnan, no? So always use that. And then there's also filters in our so that it would look nicer, diba? Okay. I'm very happy. I've got a Huawei, although downside is the Chinese are watching me, Okay. Uh, then after taking the photos, of course, and working on a property, as soon as I look at the property, and let's say there's a property in Parañaque on let's say President Avenue. So let's say for some reason I am not really aware of the property values. So how do I go about that? So there's, of course, I check my immediate brokers that work that area. O magkano last sale dyan? Okay. Magkano zonal value? What's in the property? Where is it facing? How desirable is the property? Okay. So it gives me already a good idea of how much to price the property. So right after the property, you know, I get back to my seller and then ask them, okay, this is what it is. You know, your price is too high. This is only the market, or your price is too low. The last sale was this one, di ba? Not because their price is too low. Huwag naman natin, it's all, remember in our ethics, part of our ethics, in our code of ethics, you know, whenever that will be finally implemented, that is the big question, no? Okay, so that, you know, we can report the unethical people, no? But um, that's really a frustrating. You know, I'm very much into ethics, and so when that thing is spoken about, talagang I get sidetracked with Maramano. But anyway, um, it's part of our professional ethics to do the best for our client. And just because they're pricing their property, you know, because they're not aware, it's our job to tell them. Because there are brokers that want a quick sale. You know, that's not the way it should be. We should always do the best because it comes back to us. So I tell them, you know, we could probably sell this for a little more. You know, and together with that, that's where I come in, and you know, for 3% lang, you know, since it's gonna be much more, I go for a 5% na rin, diba? So that's part of, you know, I give you this, you give me that. So it's always looking, always trying to get the most out of every deal. Okay, both for the client and ourselves. Okay, and then of course, diba, you gotta know in our networking group, we've identified the specialization of each and every broker, where they live, where they've actually transacted. Because what one specializes in may not necessarily be what they're closing. I want to be a warehouse, you know, but you know, I end up closing houses here in BF. Okay, but I want to be a commercial broker. Well, you got to go with what you're blessed with. Okay, that's the way it is. So if you're blessed with closing deals always in BF or commercial spaces, then work it that way. You know, you got, that's what you're blessed with. Okay, um, okay, and then of course you cannot handle clients. You know, let's say like we're at any point in time we are dealing with about 50 clients in our books. So you gotta call them, relate to them. How are they doing? You know, hope everything's fine. Show them your empathy, and you know, hope your business will be okay. Is there anything I could do? Oh, but connection with every client. Again, doing something that others don't, because that extra thing that we do is the value that they want to see. And that value is something that will differ us from the rest. So then again, you know, so I go back here now. So those are my daily activity. So preparation is key, diba? You're always prepared. You know what the price values are, what was the last sale, who are the brokers there, who are the possible buyers. You gotta know. You gotta know. It's important, because if you're not in the know, then something that you have to work on. Then of course you gotta communicate with your client, building relationships. When I was in insurance at that time, I always talk to when I trained people, because when I started in insurance, I was in San Francisco. I was up against Mexicans, Americans, uh, Latinos, ganyan, and some Filipinos. And on my first month, I was rookie of the month. And 3 months, my production was good. They made me a manager. And I saw and I realized talagang it's about relationship. You know, I I tell you, there are listings that of course, the shady part or the gray area in what we do is handling listings. That's one. Handling clients, that's another story. But on handling listings, I gave a listing to you, to a network, and they acknowledged it. 2 days later, that same listing was given by the owner to them or by another broker that they prefer to deal with. So how do you cope up with that? But you have like a text there saying that they acknowledged it. Me, I don't get I know anymore because you know what? There's so much. Wala, you don't have exclusivity. It's different story if they view the property with you. Then they have to get that from you. Okay. Um, but on relationships that I've had with several, quite a number of mine, I gave to you 3 years ago. You gave to me 3 years ago. If you're that kind of network that I have, and I will always respect, regardless if even the owner calls me, I'll say that I got it already from my network 3 years ago, and it just shows the ethics that we have. No? But building relationships is really something, and you'll know, like during this pandemic, you'll know who you spoke to. So if you didn't speak to them, or they didn't speak to you, they didn't reach out to you, maybe that's something to build on, or something to think twice over and over again if it's worth it. Grow your business now with social media. Oh, sobra. When kind of like difficult. How many of you are having a difficult time with the new format of Facebook? I'm one of them. Hassle. You know, there was a time that you could go back to the classic one, and now it's gone. No? Pinterest is something. YouTube is great. LinkedIn is really a key now. Okay, it's really working well, more than ever, because they changed now the analytics again. Again, that's another IT lingo that you have to understand. Okay, what to post on social media? So when you get to social media, what's that? Instagram. Make it relevant for your audience. Ano ba? Okay, if it's just relevant to you, they'll not make that pansin down. By the way, this one I saw it, I copied it, and I'm relating to it. So this is not from me, but I believe that this is what it has to be done. Talk to your audience. Don't talk at them. Okay, like when you must simple post those on Facebook. Saw this today, and here and let's say a sample of that is okay. Here at Balasin, lovely place. So there's people that will like that, but no, how you get into a bigger audience and how Facebook will help you more is if there's engagement. What are disengagement? Okay. And here at Balasan, anybody want to join? You're asking for engagement. Oh, I'd love to. So you get the text. Oh, anybody that was here can share their experience. So you're inviting people to engage with that post of yours. Facebook sees that when they reply, maraming like, maraming response, then that moves you up the ladder. Okay, don't. It's just very, very basic, but believe me, that's how they do it, and you can check that. No, everything you posted. Okay, sorry. Everything you posted should always support your weekly, monthly, annual marketing and business goals. Okay? Digital marketing. Ito na, digital, di ba? So, I know for a fact that this new companies out there, whether they're 4 or 8 or 10, there's somebody that's into digital marketing. There's one that's, the whole day, all the guy does is post. There's another guy that just gets research and gets listing. Okay. There's another guy that just submits the offer, sends it out through email. Of course, the ones that the brokers, it's their job to really follow up. We sent you an email. Let me know if you need further details. But do scroll. It's one of our best. But nevertheless, it's engaging. It's It's activity. That's what it's. You have to plant a seed every day, and not just a seed, a good seed that will grow, not just a seed na parang suntok sa buwan. Okay. So what platforms are out there? I have not used Carousel or Lamudi. Um, and upcoming year thing because there are some success um, to both. Of course, OLX was really good. It really got a lot of leads. Because the problem with the platforms, either wrong information, hindi updated, bogus inquiries. So that's one thing that and also those platforms really have to spend time so that they can have a better AI on their system to filter down the inquiries. No? Viber, WhatsApp. No? Problem with Viber, you send a big file, they can't take it. WhatsApp and Telegram, they take the big file. Okay. When we were abroad, say in Italy, I was making a call. WhatsApp was clearer to the Philippines rather than Viber. Okay. Then of course you got your Facebook and Instagram. Instagram, by the way, just to let you know, it's more for personal. What do you call this? Instagram is used now for personal branding. Okay, so Instagram. Okay, sometimes you're taking like my mistake. I take photos or I share a nice resort. It would be better if someone took a photo of me or I did a selfie of me with the background of the resort. Simple as that. That's what Instagram wants to see because you want to engage and people would say, hey, nice, you're there. And then put a caption of a video. Hey, it's a nice property and, any inquiries, blah, blah, blah. But, something that they could always try to get something out of the people that you're engaging with. Okay. LinkedIn has come a long ways from the very professional thing. So they're now kind of like nagiging softer and they're more like friendlier. So that's again with their analytics, so the search and the friendly. In fact, I when I opened up my LinkedIn, gosh, I had so many messages there, that wanting to like network with me or like what I posted. Hindi ko napapansin. That's wrong. When you're in this social media, you gotta be up to it. You gotta answer those likes, answer those inquiries, reply to them. If not, you're defeating the purpose of what you started off to work with in the beginning. Diba? So if you're in a go for this, you gotta know what it takes, and it's gotta be consistent, very consistent. If it's not consistent, you lose track. People could feel that. Okay. All right. YouTube, wow, there's another one. That's where I plan to hire somebody to do the videos for me and then upload it. I already have a YouTube channel. I think it's Robert G. Sarmiento Realty or RG Sarmiento Realty, but it's not active, but it's there. Nevertheless, when I look at some of my old posts or the sessions that I did on lectures on negotiation, on relationship, gosh, ang daming hits pala, no, over the years. It's there. So the nice thing with YouTube, it doesn't disappear. It's there forever to be searched, no matter how long. But Instagram, naiiwanan ka, napatabunan, just like Viber, if you don't, you know, it just gets at the bottom, and then next thing you know, there's from the time you enter this morning, next thing you know, in the afternoon, there's 300 more posts during the day. Lana, information overload. When you're posting also in social media, quality over quantity. So you can, it's better to really think. But this ones, I tell you, go to YouTube and search for effective social media tips. Learn from those guys. These guys in the US, they're doing it there. That's how I, picked up some of this information. So as I said, it's something that I need to do. Creating video, it's so critical. It's so critical. Probably some of you are realizing this, that this is just as badly needed as I realize, and hope that this is something that you could pick up and also start working on. If it's not, I hope it's an eye opener to a lot. or to some, no? Nevertheless, as I said, from the beginning of this talk, the objective is for you to move up to another level, pick up something, a tip or two during this talk that would really help your career, no? In social media, they like to see the real you. They like, like me, I'm in the grocery, I'm talking, okay, probably, oh, okay, I'm holding on to this, um, what do you call this? I'm holding on to this food or canned goods by Jolly. Do you realize Jolly is owned by this company and they all have the packaging in Thailand? Okay. Just to let you know, I have a company. This is while I'm doing a selfie or video. I'm there in Unimart. Huh? I'm doing I'm servicing a couple of clients who are buying supermarket products, whether it's food, if Jufran or Mafran or Hans is for sale or Del Monte products is for sale, we have buyers looking into that. Okay. But that's it. It's a real me. And then I walk my dog. Okay. All right. So if I'm walking my dog, they see me walking with my dog. I tell you, okay. Then I stop by my vet and I show them, okay, here's my vet. Do you know my vet? For a grooming, it cost us 350, 400 for a grooming. If but I've spent so much on our dog and from medicine or whatever, But as far as my this vet is concerned, they're leasing out 200 square meters at let's say 45,000 a month. They've got this overhead of people. Okay, can you imagine their cost and how much do they have to make? How many dogs have to come in or they have to treat in order to profit? Okay, but taking it to another level, diba? So there. Now we really have to adapt to changes, diba? From getting doing videos, doing social media, finally opening a Facebook or what. It's really a must if you're gonna move on forward with no with the new norm and especially when we recover, no. So these are things that I do, So there's my Facebook page. It's very select people. Facebook under Global Real Estate. I separate my personal from my from my real estate, and then I got a Twitter, Prof Realtor, and then my Instagram is Robert G Sarmiento. Okay, and I'll leave you with some facts of life. Okay, in the Philippines, when you're doing this is hard lessons learned over the years now. In the Philippines, who you knows matters. Dito. Filter your network as you move on in the industry and with your career. Filter your network. You gotta love what you do. Yeah, there's so like me, it's like this is not work for me. It's really passion. I love what I do. It's like I was born into this. I realized, and when I became president of Rebap Green Hills, by the way, was like the most elite association of realtors. You know, City Rep. That's why I moved to City Rep sometime 2016. I feel that they are the most elite now. Okay, and with the new young brokers, go-getters, ethical, professional, good-looking, closers. What can I say? Everything's there. So you're kind of like I'm like a Santana, the older guy dancing with the younger ones, so that I can move on in my latter years. No, put yourself in your client's perspective. A lot of times, because we forget that we just want to make a sale. What are they thinking of? What's going on in their mind? Get into their mind. Get into their mindset. So if you're in their mindset, then at least you can relate. Then you will have a better perspective on how to present and how to relate to them. When I meet a client, hello, yeah, how you doing? They just got here. Oh, here, let me show you the unit. No, I spend time. I spend 10 minutes. I get to know them. Oh, where'd you pass? Oh, what's your daughter? How old is your daughter? All these things. Talk lang, spend time. That's valuable. The first 10, 15 minutes, before you, okay, well, gosh, I guess it's time to check out this property. I think you'll love this. But you already built a rapport from that early 10-minute talk with them. Organization is key. A lot of people they get so lost. Where's my thing? I'm very OC. Everything's like, let's say yesterday we had like an inquiry or something, and they made an offer. I mean, they want us to make an offer to them, and I showed them the photo, and they're replying back. When they're replying back and they're ready for viewing, I already immediately put a folder to them para organize. Or especially when they are selling a property, they sent me the lot plan. Pak, okay, there's a folder for them. Okay, P. Burgos, Makati, owner, plop, it's there. It's so that it's organized. So my file here are their listings, they're alphabetical, they're by location. Even my condominiums, I have like an index box when I started 31 years ago. So can you imagine the 5x7 index cards, and that time um, National Bookstore was selling this boxes that were the 5x7 fix. So, I had about 15 of those. Kasi I was multi-line. So, but let's say for my condominium, Makati. So in Makati, there's Salcedo and Legazpi and the other locations. So nakaseparate yan. Then in Salcedo, there's the studio, 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom. In Legazpi, ganun din. So it's so departmentalized or organized so that it's easy to find them. No, you gotta be resilient in these things. There's remember it's of course you're helping yourself, but the key is really helping our clients. You got to be determined to do that, and that's why there's very few at the top, because not everyone can cope with what it takes. But all it takes is really the determination, and if you prioritize that's your goal, then that's something that will just follow. Maintain humility. There are some. By the way, with social media nowadays, how are some being so successful or getting, those guys that are doing the social media? They're showing that, sold this property, they got a photo, sold, leased out, they do that. I guess to a certain extent, that's okay. Okay. Some avoiding the BIR, all right. But, some kasi they get into their head na mayabang na. Don't, it's only a small world. And, remember, you're only good in what we do. You're only good as your last sale, because the next is another challenge. Okay? Be upfront. Oh, I'm one broker away here. Oh, ganito ha. Can you do this? I'll have a referral to this or whatever. But be upfront. Tell them, there's a case on this. It's going to be fixed. No surprises. Just be upfront on everything. Okay? With what I do, I'm like ethics guy. I get minimum of 2 calls a day, trying to get advice on what to do with a certain scenario that they're encountering with a co-broker or with an owner, and even family and even relatives, may kaaway, may nagsumbong sa'yo. There's always two sides to the story. So you listen to both if you get a chance before you judge. Okay. Never burn your bridges. Because maliit yung mundo eh. Later on, you will bump into these people. Maliit ang real estate world eh. I had one that I had so pissed off. They were 2 hours late. I was younger then, so I was more hyper than. Not that I'm not hyper anymore, no, but but I was easier to get irritated. So, buti na lang, she turned in that person turned into Christian. I also learned the Christian way, and she forgave, and we're now continuing our business, and we've actually closed deals. No, but don't burn your bridges. No, not worth it. Negative. Negative. Then you come on, you go home. You got that. You're holding on to that heavy feeling, and not worth it. In every person that I hire in my office, because when I hire, the number one requirement is no experience. Number two, I need to like feel them that they could be trustworthy, that they are hungry to learn, and that they have the capacity to digest what I'm going to teach them. And so I tell them, okay, you know what? I'm a very 8 to 5 during office hours. I am your employer. You are the employee. But after 5, we are friends. I'm not your boss or what. We're friends. We're regular human beings. So during office hour, if you do something wrong, of course, I'm more forgiving now. But if you do something wrong and I say something, I drove it really hard because it seems like you can't get it. Do not get personal because everything here is purely business. We're just doing it for the best of everyone so that we can reach our goals. Because I've seen some of my staff, they cry and I go, but I told you, I warned you, wala tong personal, it's purely business. You did something wrong and that's not acceptable. Okay, because typing something the wrong spelling, their name specially, and sending out that offer, that's unacceptable. I'm very OC. It's got to be all perfect most of the time. But of course you can make mistakes. You can't avoid that. We're all human. But nevertheless, I go back to my point that when I have to, now I have a way of telling them nicely na lang, and I don't. I've really softened up so much, probably by 80%. But you can't, siyempre naman yan, getting to my older years, so siyempre meron naman another side na naman of me, no? Expect the unexpected. Just when you think it's closing, something comes up. There was a time that we closed the deal, we got all the certified through copies, we had made the payments. So my wife, that's why, kasi she does the liaison, para hands-on kami, no? I don't get involved with that. So she was processing. She paid already the BIR, with certified through copies and everything, the doc staff's payment, capital gains. So we're now moving now. We got the car. Eto na. Dadali na sa RD. So we paid transfer tax. Okay na. Eto na, RD na. So entry. Biglang, sir, may nag may dispendence kahapon lang. Oh my gosh. How did that happen? It could happen. Okay? But now we know better. Because pinapatimbrihan na namin yan sa RD. Oh, transacted na yan ha. Huwag yung napapagalawin yan kung sino pumasok. But sometimes, if they can't do it there, they go to LRA. They have connections. Nevertheless, expect the unexpected. Never dwell on the negative. There are people that are just so negative. I try to avoid that because there are better things to do, and there's only so much in our mindset during the day that we can take, and there's no room for that. There's so many people to help, so many people to enjoy a laughter too with a conversation. So why dwell on the negative? Because it rubs on you. This is so true for, I tell you, money changes people. That's why they say money is the root of all evil. So, pagdating na ng, ito na, release na ng professional fees, biglang may kasama daw siyang isa. There are some super unethical people, excuse me, Some are hard-headed. I used to be. I was warned, but I still, I still didn't follow. So I learned the hard way. So if there's anything that we could, if somebody gave you an experience and it was a tough one that they experienced, learn from that, so that you can avoid getting into that situation in the future. Every deal is knowledge. Your yesterday's viewing, your last week's closed deal. There's always something. Yesterday's viewing or today's offer sheet that you submitted, there was something in there that kind of like still happened and that you learned. In the viewing yesterday, maybe you spoke too much. Maybe you could have emphasized more of the view, or maybe things, or you could have prepared yourself better. Okay. These are things, like I'd like to get a reply from the client. Alam mo naman, Pinoy, ang mahirap sa Pinoy, Deadma, after the viewing, I'd like foreigners or expats, they tell you, Robert, it's a great place, but I don't like that area there. And look for me, I'd like a nicer view. I'd like a better furnitures. They'll tell you what it is. But find a way to find out to get that input from your client, because the sooner you know, the better. Because if not, it gets colder. You then follow up the following day. The following day, it will be harder to get an answer from them. Always as soon as possible. So after a bad day, every day is a new day. There's a nice thing about what we do. New challenges, something new. You just make a phone call, and like me, if I were to drum up an activity, all I need to do is pick up the phone and make a call to my networks. Immediately, there's something there that could happen. So, look at it from that angle. And finally, we always thank God for your blessings, because there's so many people that are not doing well. They're sick. That's why they say health is wealth. There are some that have family squabbles, and just thank God that we're, especially during this COVID time, that, we woke up the next day, we're healthy. I was worried one time. I woke up and I felt some pain in my throat, and the paranoid of on COVID kaya ito, I immediately drank hot water or ginger or what. But there's so many things. I got a classmate that passed away from COVID. And others. So really, I tell you, just thank God, for your blessings. And each day it's a new day, and each day is a blessing. So I thank you for that. Thank you for this afternoon. If there's any questions, we can go through that now.
Wow, guy, thank you, Robert, for that. Guys, we now open the floor for your questions or follow-ups. Robert, it makes sense, no? Based on the tip, thank you very much on those tips. I mean, 30 years of professional experience and quite a gold mine. So thank you for that, Robert. So
Welcome.
guys, as we before we wrap up, I'd like to take this opportunity to open the floor for any questions that you may want to uh, throw at Robert, if I may use that word.
How do you do the best approach for freelance? Do you work with them? How do we encourage them to practice legally? There are a lot in Facebook. Okay, I tell them that, right now, um, the RESO law is still not being, it's still not actively being implemented, but things are coming up. They're um, PRC or the PBS is PBS is now making an active move to really get rid of this colorum. It's never too late. If not, they can get a salesman's license, or if they qualify, it's 4-year course. It's interesting, but there's very few that really want to go to that 4-year course. If they want the shortcut, diba? So if you want the shortcut, salesman's license is really the key. As there's a growing number of brokers that we don't associate with anymore if they're not licensed. No. Okay. Um, percent sharing with co-brokers. Oh, 50-50, but kami, wow, unlike others who say 50-50 lang sila, we're more flexible. If you're one broker away, an important thing is, I'm like, I think very much like a Chinese, if there's a deal to be made today in order to help a client, I'll go with them. When you look at it, 50-50, no? What happens during a 40-20-40? Meaning, okay, I'll take the 40, so I sacrifice my 10. You guys get the 60. Bahala na kayo sa barangay ninyo, whether you're 2, 3, 4. Okay? All I do is 10%, and I strike a deal. Tapos, okay, I'll tell you, there's a legend of the 10%. Meron kasi dyan, mga nagpupumilit ng 50%. Okay, so the client calls 50%, but of course, I'm not, nothing personal. No? Of course, if they feel that they can push it, well, then fine. Well, my due respect for you, no. But for me lang, okay, there's a true story. 50%, they wanted, so this broker comes on to me, sir, meron kayong ganyan, DASMA na property, na direct? Sabi ko, wala eh. I'm one broker away. So, day one. So, he searches. In the meantime, when you don't offer anything to the client, okay, the client gets impatient and starts looking around and starts calling around, right? So, third day, wala pa rin siya. I could have given him a property na sana one broker away. He would have gotten 40%. After, ang problema sa kanya, hindi pa siya, he didn't call, he didn't update his client. Mr. Chan, I just to let you know, I'm searching, but I still haven't found the property. But there were actually properties of offered if he was just more flexible, no? Anyway, long story short, after 2 weeks, he found out that his client is negotiating on that property already through another broker, through other sets of brokers. And that's eventually what his client bought. And to think all he stood to lose was 10% had he gotten it from me. I'm not really, I'm not in for my share. My pity is for him for not being more flexible on things. Especially during this pandemic time. Flexibility is the name of the game. Okay? Because if you're thinking that way, for me lang, no? I think you're not doing justice to your client because it's in our code that we have to do utmost for our client, not utmost for ourselves. So that extra 10% are really going for that flat 50%. When you can get 40 naman. Parang ang priority ang kliyente, hindi ikaw eh. Then again, no offense to ones that maintain their 50%. With all due respect, and some of them are very successful with what they do, and hats off, Okay. Any more questions? Yeah. Oh, fast na pala. Quarter to 3, ah. Okay. Kung no questions, I can add a little more. Okay. How many of you already have your RFIDs? Okay. I got mine, and gosh, what a convenient way of traveling. So I just charge my auto sweep and easy trip 5,000 para hindi ka na. So you find out if you're more in the south or more in the north, no? But there's nothing like looking for that when you're getting to that exit and RFID, you zoom across the rest that are in line, no? So I did mine about 4 months ago, and right before they stopped you at the toll gates, no? So it's been really beneficial. Okay. Do we disclose if the property had COVID death reason for rush sale? Okay. Yes, I believe so. But we're not like America that we're like obliged to. In the US, all those things have to be given, no? Over here, why not? We're selling one right now, and that was the cost. But identify, where did they die? Did they die in the house, or did they die on the way to the hospital, or in the hospital? Okay, so those are things that they will. There's a house that we sold some time ago in Green Hills, and it was burnt down. Di ba, Chinese may sa mga temple. So, the what do you call this? The candle fell down. Sunog yung bahay midnight. Nakatakbo yung dalawa, but namatay yung dalawang kapatid, no? So, eventually it passed, anyway. But so the buyer had some Tibetan monk go through the ritual of burning stuff and doing prayers, and it was okay. Would you know how it is just to renew a broker's license? Online daw eh. Ako, what I experienced, by the way, when you go renew your license, I had the hard way because I had to get my lecturer's license, and my PRC broker's license also expired in February or in May of this year. So there was an online thing, but it's like parang nahaselan kami. The forms are like, parang where's the next one? So my wife and I decided to just go straight because, I had to provide the receipt to CityRev in order for me to be valid in my lecture today. So we went there. So the funny thing there is like, gosh, talaga they gotta fix the record. For you that have been there or that have not been there in PICC, it's a long walk, huh? From the entrance. So they have the entrance. To the left is where the cashier is and where you buy the documentary stamps. To the right side is where they validate, where they validate your no, on the left side is where they validate pala your license, no? That okay, you are registered here. On the right side is where you buy doc stamps and you pay the cashier. So when you fill out the application, so you go to the all the way to the other side, which is probably gosh, siguro it's less than a kilometer. Parang isang kilometer. Hindi naman, siguro mga 700 meters. So you walk there, you climb up, and then you go down, and then you submit your papers, they assess it, okay? And then when they assess it, all right, kung may kulang, whatever, so now they ask you to go to legal on the second floor just to find out that, whatever that legal thing is, no? So once you go to the legal, they ask you to go back to the entrance again so that you can pay your cash, the cashier, get documentary stamps. Before you do that pala, you have to go first to validate your PRC that you are in the records. Okay? Once that's done, then you get the documentary stamps, and then you pay the cashier, and then you go all the way back there again. Stupid. Stupid system. So, di ba, parang when you're going in there, you pay what needs to be paid na. You get your clearance that you're validated in the system. You get your doc stamps already. So everything is nandun ka na lang, one entrance. So for those that are renewing or wanting to go into PICC, check that out, if that's possible, just to warn you, para hindi kayo pabalik-balik, hassle. Okay.
Oh, thank you
Okay.
for the tip, Robert.
Yeah, wait. Buyers, brokers, and sellers, brokers, self commission sharing. Yeah, it's 50-50. But what's more important is the division of work. Okay. So as a selling broker, we handle Udsi's here pala, no? Okay. The selling broker handles the BIR up to getting the car. Also handles all the certified copy, of the title before closing the deal, di ba? Everything that's required to sell and everything that's required to transfer the title. So once the car is already there, then you turn over now to the buying broker. Sila nang bahala sa RD, transfer tax, sila na, that's their job. Okay? So in our case, we pay 15 to 20,000 for someone to process our BIR. We just liaise it, just to make sure, at tapos at mabilis. And then to save our time, because we have better time, we can spend better time working our clients. It's all about, like me, it's that I focus on. The liaison, minimal lang yan. That's part of your cost. Okay? I hope I answered your question. Can you buy surety bond at PRC when you renew? No. Betch, where did we buy our surety bond? Tra- Traveler's insurance is the best. We paid 1.5, 1,006. Okay. I think online we just deposit their account. So that's a surety bond. And then of course, before I had to go pala to PICC, gosh, may PTR. So I had to pay my PTR in Makati. You know, what, 150 pesos. But we went there, the PTR wasn't paid. So just make sure you go through all the checklist before you pay so that you indicate pabalik-balik. No? Okay, Ronel, I think what's no.
I think there's one very nice question, especially for professional, being asked by James here. Um, do you deal with non-licensed broker or agents?
Avoid that. Avoid that. I mean, I had a case, um, that I had to fix. My a relative of mine sold their property, okay, and they were entitled because they were going to buy another property. Well, it's a huge property, 80 million, and just because this had a buyer, so now they didn't even realize that they were entitled to a primary residence capital gains exemption. So the car has been paid, the capital gains has been paid. There was no escrow done. So they're asking me to fix it kung pwede pang mahabol. That I am checking with BIR pa. But you see the thing with that, those are the things dealing with that's why we go to all these CPDs, to learn the new laws and regulations, and that's why I blog about those two all the time. Anything that's new in the market. But again, going back with unlicensed brokers or what? Okay, I deal I deal with friends that on the high end level that have friends that are selling their properties, but they let me handle everything. Okay, that's a different thing. Okay, let's say a classmate of mine is, they live in Forbes. Hey, my neighbor's selling their house. Could you help him? Yeah. Okay, so they introduced me. So I go through all the listings. So should I sell it? Siya naman, hindi siya humihingi. Kung humihingi siya, then I'll probably give him something because it's business. For me, that's a token already. That's like a gift for providing me this. I would give back to you naman talaga because this deal would not have happened without you. But if you are wanting to act like a licensed broker, two different things. No, sorry, I don't. I don't. Touchy, but it's a fact. A lot of a lot of brokers also do it that way. I'm saying it out in the open, uh, but let's be real, and we need these people, and sometimes opportunities come our way, and we just have to give them referrals. They can anywhere be depends, they can be anywhere from 10 to 20%. Okay, if it's like a valued friend that I know he's got so much friends that are like Manila Golf or Manila Polo, or they all are friends in a high-end millionaires club, I'll give them 20%. Why not? There'll be more to follow. Yeah. Okay. Oh, that's Aldrich. Oh, that's Aldrich. Oh, pala. Yeah, I see him posting. Okay.
Um, can I say something, Robert?
Sure.
Yeah. Well, guys, that's the main reason. Again, if I may say, that's the main reason we are here for that CPD units. So we're working for this. We're spending hours. Some of you 3 days. Some a day. Even for salesperson, just go back to your RESA. Why we are all here, and probably from there, and more often based on, I guess, from what Robert is saying, and for everyone, medyo more often sakit ang ulo. I think, for me. So we'd rather deal with people, the right people. So anyway, marami po tayo, marami po tayo. So I think that's it. Any more questions, sir? Moms.
Okay, there's a question there in the chat. In your opinion, 20 salesperson per broker, is it enough? You know, when they crafted now, I read this from somebody credible. When they crafted the rulings on how many brokers, it wasn't really, it was just a number that came out, you know. So personally, I think 20 is not sufficient, no? Should be more. And really, you know, what do we go through? You know, ako lang going through that renewal of license, what I went through, you know, traveling back, you know, imagine, can you try going back to PCCI? I'm in San Juan, go back there twice in a day. Okay, go back, pick up something here. I left something here that I have to fill up, pay something in Makati, then go back so that it's tapos. I need to meet up with that. Hello, and then you know, itong mga unlicensed brokers would want 50%. Excuse me, you know, the time and effort that we do and spend for what we are, they got to know what we're doing. I mean, you know, the effort that we put in, we are professionals. You know, more so. I mean, without putting down other people, real estate in the Philippines is unlike any real estate in the world. In the US, pagkabenta nila, titling company, escrow company, wala na silang, tayo dito, tayo lahat. We do the due diligence, you know, we do the transfers. It's all, you know, it's our credibility that's on the line. You know, so we're a bit of a lawyer, we're a bit of an accountant, you know, di ba? Lahat. And I tell you, sometimes I'm mistaken for a lawyer because of the experiences and the blogs that I make. You know, so right after that, I tell it the way it is. But I always say that, you know, this is a blog on an actual experience. Should you need further knowledge on this heirs bond or whatever, it's best to seek a lawyer. Okay? Because I'm not going to step over the professionalism. I'm not going to be, di ba, parang sinasabi nga nasa lisensya. Okay, o kung ganyan you know, doktor ka, gusto mo maging broker na hindi ka man lisensyado, gusto mo 50%, gusto mo ba magdoktor ako? O, di ba? Yun that's the logic to that. But of course, it's how you say it, you know, with a nice way so that it kind of like has a little hit to them also. Okay.
Okay, it's 3 o'clock. Thank you, Robert. Unless you guys still have questions, you may send it na lang through CITREB Secretariat, email us. On this note, I'd like to remind each and everyone, Secretariat will be sending email for the evaluation. This is part of the requirement of PRC. A Google Docs link will be attached on it. Please, it will also serve as a proof of your attendance in these proceedings. Again, Robert, thank you very much
Thank you
for your time. And
thank you, everyone. You're welcome.
Pong salamat sa support. Again, as we close the year for CITREB Lecture Series for 2020. Thank you very much.
Thank you po.